Students find a surprise in their mailbox and a sexologist visits the campus. All this coming up on Sbu TV. Welcome to Sbu TV News. I'm Brendan Connarton.
And I'm Elaine, Nessle. Students received a surprise in their mailboxes this week. Sbu TV's Maria Costa has the story.
Got mail? Yes, you did, and the news wasn't good. The university raised tuition for next school year to $21,650, an increase of $1,040. But why?
That increase in tuition is going to help us maintain the costs of salaries, the costs of energy, the increased costs of things like insurance for the campus, technological upgrades.
Sister Margaret said the investment is worth it.
That $21,000, rounding it off, is a lot of money. But we need to think of it not as money that just disappears, but as an investment that's going to pay a dividend.
Surprisingly, students understand that an increase is necessary for the university to continue operating outside of the red.
In comparison to other universities, I think the school is starting to finally level out with other universities. Originally, when I came here as a freshman, the school was well underpriced of other universities.
It's not going to be nice for my parents because they're paying a lot of money, and it's just going to be harder to pay the bills now.
But students still wonder,
where's our money really going?
I think more people would like to know where the tuition increase is specifically going, but when you raise tuition like 2 years in a row, with it already being as high as it is, nobody's going to be in favor.
For Sbu TV, I'm Maria Costa.
This is the third year in a row tuition has increased. Student fees also went up $25.
The St. Bonaventure community lost one of its own last week. Father Francis Storms passed away on March 23rd, and his funeral was held at University Chapel on Tuesday. Father Storms was the assistant to President Sister Margaret Carney and is being remembered as a crucial part of the university.
I think he'll be remembered as a man who gave everything he had to the institution of St. Bonaventure, to the people of St. Bonaventure, and to the people of Western New York and the Southern Tier. One of the apt descriptions I've heard of him is that he's like glue. He is unseen, but holds an institution or a room together. That's how I'll remember him.
Father Storms was 63 years old.
The new Medicare drug plan could mean trouble for local pharmacy owners. Sbu TV's Natalia Pinto reports.
The Medicare Part D prescription drug plan is giving independent pharmacies a headache. Since this complex plan went into effect on January 1st, local pharmacists have been losing profits.
And it's costing me big time just to capitalize this Medicare Part D that I make very little money on in the end anyway.
Independent pharmacies such as Vic Venus here in Olean have to wait for the plans to reimburse them for the medications that they've already sold.
So we've bailed the program out for the first few months, and now we're not getting paid on time. The payments are lagging, they're slow, they're not as much as they should be, so we're having real cash flow problems.
But this local pharmacist is more concerned for his customers' welfare than for his business.
Worst part of it is, independent and chain pharmacies have given millions of dollars of medications to these patients on good faith, knowing that in fact these people are either going to get their medicine or die.
For Sbu TV News, I'm Natalia Pinto.
Next week, we will take a look into how the drug plan is affecting senior citizens.
An increase in hiring may help ease the minds of college seniors who are looking for a job. Sara Maurer takes a closer look.
Switching the calendar to April is usually a sign that the end of the school year is approaching. While this may excite summer lovers, college seniors may be feeling the stress of looking for jobs.
It's a little intimidating. I guess I feel like I don't really have that much relevant experience.
I'm worrying a little, just not too much. By midsummer, if I have no bites, I'm probably going to freak out a little bit.
According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, the job market has a positive outlook compared to previous years. This year, hiring could increase about 14% worldwide.
On the notion that you are just like those that have gone before you, relax a little bit and be confident in your abilities. That said, don't relax so much that you become passive.
While employers are anticipating the growth, many jobs that are expected to be available may not be locked into place just yet. So what does this mean for the candidate?
In an employer's mind, if there's a lot of prospecting going on, that maybe a candidate's going to have to take more interviews to get the opportunity, but the opportunities ultimately should be available.
Using recruitment websites like CareerBuilder.com and Monster.com are efficient and easy ways to search for jobs, but it's not a good idea to only rely on these online sources.
The most powerful way to find a job is to engage career professionals in conversation.
For Sbu TV, I'm Sara Maurer.
The Career Center will host 2 more career fairs in the month of April.
Using the right fork these days, around 80 community members gathered in Doyle Dining Hall to hear Robert Schutt discuss proper etiquette when in a formal dining situation. The event, sponsored by the Career Center, featured a 4-course meal with tips to impress potential employers.
Always wait in the lobby. Don't go to the table first. If they give you truth. What's going on? And what are you talking about and what are they saying about me? A used utensil never touches the tablecloth. So once you've used a fork or a knife, it always rests either on the plate that the salad is served on, it rests on your bread and butter plate, it rests somewhere besides on the tablecloth.
Schutt also gave students some insight on the importance of etiquette.
Up to 85%, that's 85% of your success in getting a job, keeping a job, and getting promoted on the job are based on your interpersonal skills.
The program costs $15 per student and has been a tradition at St. Bonaventure for the past 7 years.
On March 28th, St. Bonaventure students packed Murphy Auditorium for a presentation called When a Relationship Goes Terribly Right. But what students heard had nothing to do with relationships between 2 people. Sbu TV's Meghan Backus has more.
Bona students may worry about their relationships with friends, family members, and significant others. But do they ever think about the relationship they have with themselves and alcohol? Cameras were not allowed in the auditorium until after Eric Garrison's presentation, but the sexologist and expert in public health used humor to explain how a student can have a healthy relationship with him or herself when partying.
The message is not don't drink or not do drink, but just to be aware of the positives and the negatives of every behavior, and to make decisions based on an educated choice.
Garrison also taught the crowd about drinking in moderation and secondary hangovers.
A secondary or a secondhand hangover is where a person is experiencing the aftermath of someone else's drinking.
The students I spoke with the following day had not heard of the term secondary hangover. After I explained it to them, they realized they had experienced one in some way.
Some people don't know their limit and you have to kind of watch them, kind of have to mother them, I guess, carry them out of the bar.
It's not a good thing because you force people to be responsible for you, but in a sense, I don't know, I feel bad for a lot of people who put themselves in situations where they don't have people to help them out.
Garrison said he could not disclose any statistics on student drinking on campus. But do students think they have a handle on the bottle?
I think it's going to be a problem no matter what college you go to.
I don't necessarily think it's a problem, but because I just don't think drinking is a problem.
I think everywhere around the country probably has an issue. Not that like makes Bonaventure any, I don't know, like I'm letting it off the hook.
For Sbu TV, I'm Meghan Backus.
Garrison said the St. Bonaventure Medical Emergency Response Team asked him to speak because of a drinking problem on campus.
Bonaventure students appear to be taking an informal approach to dressing for class. Sbu TV's Colleen Hannon sizes up Bonaventure fashion.
One big change between high school and college, no dress code. Students are given the freedom to wear whatever fits their mood.
I just looked outside and it was really nice, so I wanted to be comfortable per se.
When I am dressed in sweatpants and I feel a lot more comfortable, I tend to want to be in class a little more.
Baseball caps, sweatshirts, and flip-flops may be comfortable for Bonaventure students, but is it making professors uncomfortable in the classroom?
I prefer them to come to a class
dressed halfway nice, but on the other hand, I also realize they're college students and sometimes they like to wear shorts, and I don't have a big problem with them wearing shorts on a nice day, but definitely not the flip-flops or the pajamas or things of that nature.
The fact that we don't dress on occasion says that we're not respecting the other people who are going to be in attendance. School is preparing yourself for the business world too, and you're not going to do that when you go to work, I would hope.
It's still strange to me to see students wearing shorts or pajamas in class, but doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me.
For Sbu TV, I'm Colleen Hannon.
Every professor interviewed said that apparel has no correlation to performance in the classroom.
Do you often find yourself running late to class, then walk in to find out you were actually 10 minutes early? Sbu TV's Sean Mullen took the time to check out the clocks on campus.
It is not if you attend St. Bonaventure, where all the clocks seem to be wrong. But what is the problem?
The clocks themselves are an old technology. The signal for synchronizing the clocks goes over the building wiring system, and that might have worked before we had all the electronics that we've got now.
So what has been done to fix this problem?
We have tried radio synchronized clocks, which are individual standalone and which are supposed to pick up the time from a radio transmission. And they work in some places and not in others.
According to my cell phone, I'm late for class. However, few clocks on campus tell the right time. Has this caused problems for other students?
I see I've got 15 minutes left, but apparently I didn't have 15 minutes, which made me 15 minutes late to class.
Is there any way to resolve this problem?
I use my cell phone because none of the clocks on campus are correct.
I'm not a real clock expert, but I think just a little twitch on the back fixes everything.
We may be on the verge of just getting rid of them.
For Sbu TV, I'm Sean Mullen.
Sean would have had more to the story if he wasn't confused about all the different times on the clocks.
As lawmakers discuss immigration reform, a new book examines the desperate journey of immigrants who enter the United States illegally. CNN's Ed Levendera talked to the book's author, who traced their travels firsthand. Some of the images in this story are disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
The trail of desperation starts here in Chiapas, Mexico. These rail lines have been described as a graveyard without crosses.
They call it El Tren de la Muerte, the train of death.
Tens of thousands of Central American migrants hop trains heading north. On this 1,200-mile journey from Chiapas to border towns like Nuevo Laredo, they'll battle bandits who rob and rape, they'll go hungry and thirsty for days, and out of exhaustion some will fall off the trains. Thousands have died.
Many of them die silently alongside the rails. They bleed to death.
Sonia Nazario says the journey is hell. She knows because she rode the train, reporting for her book titled Enrique's Journey, the story of a teenage boy who rode the train.
They risk losing arms to the train, losing legs to the train, losing their life, but they're willing to take that risk.
We asked Nazario to be our guide through Nuevo Laredo, Mexico.
Once you get this far north, the stakes are very high.
Nazario took us to a shelter in this border town. It's where we meet 18-year-old Nervin Guerrero. He spent the last month walking and riding the train through Mexico. He left Honduras with $10. Bandits robbed him of that. Some days he only ate tortillas people would throw on his train. All this to reunite with his father, who he hasn't seen in 2 years. He says having a father is the most marvelous thing in the world. I think about him all the time. He loved me so much when we were together. Nazario says the economic and personal desperation of their lives drives them to attempt this dangerous journey, and she warns more will keep coming.
It grows every year, and it's growing because of the desperation in these home countries where people just cannot feed their children, and so they see it as the only way to be able to do that.
When night falls on the shelter in Nuevo Laredo, this group of migrants rest and pray. They survived the most treacherous part of their journey, but they're still far from the promised land. Ed Levendera, CNN, Nuevo Laredo, Mexico.
When we return, Mike Hayes joins us with sports. Stay with us.
One of the best things you can give your child or grandchild doesn't come from a store. It's time spent with you exploring the gifts of nature, discovering that what's really important in life is life itself. Go to ArborDay.org and check out the National Arbor Day Foundation's Kids Explore Club. Your family will have fascinating adventures right in your neighborhood, and you'll gain a deeper appreciation for the wonders of nature and for each other. Whether you live in the city, the country, or anywhere in between, ArborDay.org has fun activities just right for you.
Oh, the Arbor Day Foundation, family trees across the nation. Plant a tree today for all the world to share.
The new Kids Explore Club, bringing children closer to nature and closer to you.
Welcome back. Mike Hayes has our look into sports. Mike?
Thanks, Elaine. St. Bonaventure swimmer Stephanie-Belke was named the Atlantic 10 Conference Women's Swimming and Diving Student Athlete of the Year. Belke, a senior journalism and mass communication major from Amherst, New York, holds a better than a 3.5 grade point average and helped lead the Bonnies to a second-place finish at the Atlantic 10 Championships in February.
I definitely put my academics first. That was definitely the most important thing for me because I knew that swimming was only going to take me so far.
Belke earned all conference honors in each of her 4 years at Bonaventure and made the commissioner's honor roll the past 4 semesters. She says her busy schedule did not keep her from enjoying herself.
For an athlete, competing is what's fun. We don't get to go out and party with our friends as much as everybody else does. And we don't really lead a typical life. And so for me, fun was, competing in the pool with my teammates and, the feeling of winning.
In order to be nominated for the award, student athletes must maintain at least a 3.0 grade point average and be key performers for their teams. The Lady Bonnies lacrosse team is one of 5 Division I teams still undefeated. The Bonnies won 2 away games last week against Brown and Canisius. The offensive trio of Courtney Gibbons, Katie Hurley, and Brenna Houghton led the way with 7 points apiece. The Bonnies baseball team went 2-1 in their Atlantic 10 opening series against Duquesne. After splitting the first 2 games, the Bonnies offense came to life. Junior Brian Pellegrini went 3 for 5 with a grand slam, and junior Joe Rizzo went 3 for 4 with a pair of home runs as the team cruised past the Dukes 15-4. The softball team began A10 play by dropping both games of a doubleheader to Charlotte 6-0 and 2-0. Last week, we reported the athletic team's academic standings for the fall semester, and this week, I checked on the Bonnies standing under the NCAA's academic progress rate.
Last month, the NCAA handed down its first set of penalties under the 2-year-old APR format. 99 Division I teams at 65 different schools lost scholarships. University of Buffalo football team lost 3, and Temple's football program lost 9.
We have no teams at all that are subject to penalties, to contemporaneous penalties.
Each team is scored separately on a scale of 1,000 points. Teams are generally required to score a 925 or higher. But there are some adjustments depending on the size of the team. A team with 7 scholarship athletes would be affected more by 1 player transferring than a squad with 40 scholarship athletes. So the smaller team would have an adjusted APR requirement.
You can imagine, and this is why sometimes the numbers may look weird, is that if you have a small squad size and you only have maybe a couple people on that team that have scholarships, 1 person can really affect the data.
Thus, the men's basketball team was under the 925 mark, but since the team did not have a full scholarship squad for the past 2 years, the APR target was lower than 925, and the team scored above that.
Because our squad size numbers were lower, we met that squad size adjustment. So as your squad sizes build, after 4 years of data, they will get rid of the adjustments.
Each student athlete on scholarship accounts for 2 points a semester.
You're looking at eligibility and looking at theoretically retention and or did they graduate. And that's how you come up with this, is the 2 points. You may hear a phrase called an O for 2-er, an O for 2. And that's somebody who was not eligible at the end of that term and did not return to the institution for the following semester. And you're only penalized if you are below the 925, or whatever that magic number is right now with squad size adjustments, and you have an O for 2. So regardless of what the numbers look like, none of our teams are losing scholarships, which is the first penalty phase that you would have.
Every October, the NCAA receives each school's APR data. Scholarship losses take hold at the first opportunity the school has, meaning if the school has already signed a full incoming class, the scholarship reductions will be enforced the next recruiting season. The men's tennis team bounced back from a tough loss against Manhattan with a win over Lafayette. It was the Bonnies' most impressive win of the season, taking the match 7-0. The women dropped their final dual match of the regular season, falling 5-2 against Lafayette on Saturday. The Atlantic 10 Conference Championships start on April 20th. That's all for this week in sports. Lynn?
When we come back, Chef Rachel shares some more college cooking tips.
There is really only one boy. One girl. One trade. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling. One handful of sand through our fingers. One endless sky overhead. And one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
Rachel Ceccarelli joins us this week with a refreshing cream cheese vegetable pizza. Let's see how she does it.
So you're in the mood for pizza, but you want something healthy. I've got just the thing for you. Preheat the oven to 375. Take an ordinary roll of crescent rolls and spread it on the bottom of the sheet, and that's going to be our crust. Just make sure you push all the creases together. Cook the crust for 11 to 13 minutes. In a large bowl, combine 2 packages of softened cream cheese, a couple cloves of garlic, 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and some basil. Spread the cream cheese mixture over the top like it's your pizza sauce. Add your favorite veggies to the top. This makes a great summertime treat. What do you think, Sean?
Delicious.
Good. For College Cooking 101, I'm Rachel Ceccarelli. Thanks and enjoy.
Join Rachel next week for another college cooking tip.
Bonaventure students are chasing a different type of tail this spring. Sbu TV reporter Kara Coleman takes a look into the newest organization on campus.
Bird up there in the branches, it's just one of many on St. Bonaventure's campus. But how many birds are there? And how many other furry, finny, or fuzzy creatures call Bona's home? A new student organization, Student Nature Inventory Team, is pledged to find out.
I'm supposed to count the birds that crack seeds with their beaks, and it's really exciting, especially when you find them on the ground. Just like this one right here. That's a keeper.
I've been bird watching since I was a little guy. That's why I'm glad that St. Bonaventure now has snit. Oh my gosh, a red bird.
And it's not just birds that are being counted. The Allegheny River on the edge of campus has its own population.
This is awesome. I love this place. I got all sorts of fish swimming by. Pike and bass and Malaysian tigerfish. Whoa, a big northern. You see the shadow?
And sometimes you have to get down and dirty to find those certain creatures. I'm really into grasshoppers and worms. They're such cute little things. Oh, look, there's a worm and another one. I'm so glad I'm in SNIT.
That's what the organization is called, SNIT, or SNIT. But it needs money and will ask Bona's student government for funding this coming fall. University gamekeeper Lance Cabela says he thinks it should be funded.
Very important to me, as well as the very Franciscan nature of the university, to understand how many creatures are on campus. I mean, how many birds are in the Francis bird baths. Now, this could actually turn into a federal grant as well, because as you know, if you have a SNIT, you can get almost anything.
For Sbu TV, I'm Kara Coleman.
Students interested in joining SNIT or for more information, contact Lance Cabela at the website listed below.
That's all for this edition of Sbu TV. I'm Brendan Connarton.
And I'm Elaine Nessle. From Mike Hayes and all of us here at Sbu TV, thanks for watching. What?
You were talking, and you were both talking to this one, but it was on you here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's okay?